Have you ever been given a chance to visit a building that's said to be haunted by spirits of the dead? A place many humans fear, being alone. My name's Frank Humphries, and I, along with spiritualist medium Karen Sherlock, invited 8 members of the public to go head-to-head in a Sceptic versus Believer paranormal battle in what's reported to be 4 very haunted locations in the South Wales area of the UK. Today, I've invited all our guests back to review the footage from each of their episodes. In episode 1, we see married couple Margaret and Nick Borriello battle it out here at Lancayak Vale Manor in the village of Nelson. When filming took place, Margaret was a 100% believer and Nick a 100% skeptic. The question is, will our guests have the same beliefs after watching their footage? Well, let's find out. Margaret, how do you feel?
Definitely feel like a presence here.
You do?
Yeah.
Move Margaret's hair, pull on her coat, hold Margaret's hand.
Oh, God. It felt as if something had come up to me and sort of went past me.
Prove to me that you hear.
Nick, did you hear that? I heard it, Nick.
I did hear like a little
okay.
knock,
But no, wait.
It just seemed like a wispy, I don't know, like something sort of curling like that in front of me.
Nick, did you see anything?
No.
Can you knock twice if you're in this room, please?
What's that dark mass on the left? Getting darker as you can't next time.
And it's like Karen said, but in the corner, I can see the black mass as well. Actually, I can feel as if something's lifting my coat. They're not pulling it up as such, it's more out.
I just feel someone pushed me a little bit. Maybe a child.
It's the spirit of a little boy in this room. Can you pull on Margaret's coat? You got 5 strangers stood in one of your rooms. Surely you don't want us here.
Oh.
Nick, have you got that?
Actually, the camera was right on, and I don't know what happened, but she just moved her hand and left hand. So
Something tickled my hand. Something just said hello to me again.
Where?
I sat in the chair and I had a really bad shiver right through me.
if there's any spirits in this room, touch me now. Show me that you changed my mind. They all think I'm going to change my mind, but I'm not. Come and touch me now. Touch my hair. Pull my jacket. Do whatever you want to do.
So how did you feel about the main kitchen when we went in there?
Well, I felt a presence as soon as I stood by the fireplace.
Tell me what you felt.
Well, it was the coldness around me. I could feel my chest getting tight and...
Well, you stood by that fireplace, and obviously there's a draft coming down there, isn't it? It's a chimney. And it was a cold night and windy that night.
I definitely felt something by the side of me.
The draft.
I know the difference between a draft and a presence.
There was nobody there. All it was a cold draft coming from somewhere.
So how do you explain the light anomaly going past me?
That could have been anything.
We were calling out and asking for spirits to show themselves.
No spirit appeared in front of us, did it?
I was feeling a presence in that room.
It was a speck of dust somewhere along the line.
When I was in the cross passage, I felt like a breeze right up my one side, and then I felt it go around the back of me. How would you explain that?
There again, a draft. You're in a big old building and you were stood by a door. So, there's your draft, isn't it?
Well, it was swirling around us.
A draft could come from anywhere, can't it?
We were calling for spirit activity in the room. You asked for a knock and we all heard a knock. How would you explain that?
It's an old building. It could have been something, the floorboard.
It was a solid stone floor. So how on earth could it be floorboards?
There's a big wooden table in the room. It could have been a creak from there or something.
You asked for the knock.
Unless I physically see something, yes. But I can't go believe in a knock.
Speaking about seeing things, how would you explain the swirly light I seen in the Great Hall?
You were the only one that seen it. Why didn't I see that swirly light? Why didn't I see that dark shadow in the corner? You and Karen are supposed to have seen it. I never seen it, and we were all looking there at the same time. So why was it only visible to you two and not me?
But just because you didn't actually see it doesn't mean to say it didn't happen.
I think it's just your imagination, just like a jacket was being pulled.
No, it's definitely not my imagination. I know what I felt that night, and my jacket moved. What about when we were in the Great Hall and you heard the knock and you didn't tell us?
Well, that could have been anything.
We're on a paranormal night and we're asking things to happen. things happen and then you were dismissing it.
I didn't think it was anything.
Isn't it a case of you just didn't want to admit that you actually heard something?
It's not hearing things that's going to convince me. It's seeing things, something touching me. Then I will believe.
I believe it was a child, a small child, because I could feel it on my finger in between the two rooms.
But then if you look at that again, your jacket was over your finger and you went like that. It was just on the finger by there. It could have been you just twitching your hand and you felt something.
Let's look at the facts. I felt the presence of a small child tugging on my coat. Karen felt the presence of a small child go around the back of her. Frank calls out for the spirit of a child in the room. The next thing, there was an orb that goes past me. And finally, I have the sensation of a child touching my hand.
You tell me why it's happening to you, the believer, when it should be me the convincing.
So I suppose all that is my imagination again then.
When I was up in Matty's room, you felt a shiver. That was your imagination as well.
Definitely not. I know what I felt. It was a real cold shiver.
Cold draft again from somewhere in the big room, but you thought it was a spirit.
So you're trying to tell me that the draft was following us around all night, is it?
It's a big building. There's big rooms and there's drafts from everywhere.
Well, I believe it was the spirits. In some of the rooms you went really quiet.
Yes, I was in certain rooms, but when I was in the armoury, I made up for that. Nothing happened then.
Nick, I think you got something to tell the viewers.
I have got something to say to the viewers. After visiting Lankayak, I am.
I am a 100%.
In episode 2, we visited the small village of Aberconnan to investigate the building behind me. The two guests given a chance to battle it out here at the Carn Park Hotel were believer Martin Clemens and Sceptic Kerry Hopkins. Let's see what happened when Martin and Kerry discussed their experiences.
Martin, you okay? Down my arms here simultaneously a few moments ago, sort of like almost like an electric feeling. But
in your arm or your hand?
Well, both my arms, just here, and the hairs on my arms are stood up now.
Karen, I just keep seeing a shadow over the back of you.
I know,
But
yes.
I don't know whether it's this camera's moving. Kerry, do you want to ask for a spirit in this area,
No,
please?
because it just sounds daft.
Why do you feel that way, Kerry?
I don't believe they exist. If it's Jack's here, he's not listened to any of you lot, he's not going to listen to me.
These things, they don't happen to order.
So you would say that. If it doesn't happen, they never happen when you want it to, and
Well, I think
it's
that is
always
the,
an
I
excuse.
think that's the case, though. That is indeed what happens.
Do you think we're stopping things from happening because there's a couple of us here that don't believe?
I wouldn't want to make that assumption,
Kind of.
but I mean, there has been some people have suggested that in the past. I didn't see orbs, I had like a darkness. It was almost like the darkness come down.
In front of you or around you?
Around me, to about here.
How you been feeling, Martin, and how do you feel here?
I feel completely different down here. I don't at this stage feel anything right now.
I do feel it's not as heavy down here now as what it was when we first came down.
If there's a spirit in this area, Karen believes that you have the ability to move that glass. Karen, I'm not being cocky, I'm not being arrogant, but I'm pretty certain that that glass is not going to move.
Spirit film cannot act on demand, even though we ask them to. They take their time in moving things.
Just tell me how you feel over there. If anything, Kerry, if anything, Martin.
No, nothing.
That doesn't feel part of the room. It feels as if it's been added on at a later date.
It's changed a bit just here. I can't explain what it is. When we first got started up in the attic, I felt a sensation on my arm, I must say, of like a static electricity and a sense of this darkness that came in.
We're standing in the dark.
I know it was dark up there,
Yeah.
but there was a sense of something that was in my peripheral vision, was a sense of just almost like a closing of a
Do you
door.
not think that's in your head?
At the time, it felt very real.
Okay.
I can only call from what I
It
experienced.
wasn't seen on camera. It didn't happen to anybody else.
It is possible that some of those experiences were picking up on something which resides there.
All
in
that
some
came out
way.
in the footage was light anomalies. The place was dusty. It was probably just dust.
Yes, I'd granted on that one. With the light anomalies, they don't persuade me one way or the other.
Do you think there was actually a spirit or ghost up there, or do you think it was you?
In some of these situations, there is always an element that it can be yourself, and I think also equally there is an element that it isn't.
Down in the cellar, you had a completely different set of feelings. So was there ghosts down there or not?
Maybe different places have different vibrations. It's not for everybody to pick up on.
But there was nothing down in the cellar. Nothing.
No, for you there wasn't, but for some there might be.
You were down in the cellar for quite a while.
The cellar didn't have quite the same feeling as upstairs.
But that was supposedly haunted as well. Do you think there was just one spirit in that place, or do you think that every room we went into had like different spirits?
I really don't know.
You're doubting it as well. When you were feeling that dark mass around you and the touch on your arms and all of that, why was it you, the believer, that felt that and not me?
Well, because I think when you do have an open mind and believe that there are possibilities, that means that you're not automatically discounting things.
I didn't discount anything. Nothing happened.
You're a non-believer, so you've already closed down to the idea before we start.
No, not at all. If I'd seen something or felt something, like somebody pushed me,
yes,
or I'd felt a black mass or seen a figure or something, then maybe. Even when we went into the bar where there's supposedly been glasses being thrown around and poltergeist activity, and there was the chance for that to be proven by a glass being placed on the bar, nothing happened. It didn't even wobble.
No.
You know,
I don't think it's going to happen to order.
If they wanted to know that they're there, they do it to order.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Martin, the glass didn't move. Even when we went into the dining area, absolutely nothing happened. So how can you say that that place was haunted?
From my own experience, what I tell you, there may well have been residual stuff there.
In the dining area?
Well, in the dining area and in the whole building.
Are you sensitive to all this stuff then?
It just may be the case.
After my experience with the Paranormal Minds team, I am.
Episode 3 seen a battle between mother and daughter. Mum and big believer Jane Thomas really wanted her daughter Emily to believe in spirits. So Jane offered Emily the challenge of a paranormal investigation at 2 conjoined buildings. O'Sullivan's Celtic Bar and the Three Horseshoes Inn, here in the town of Merthyr Tydfil. Unfortunately, Emily couldn't join Jane for the discussion. However, let's see what Jane had to say about her vigils.
Oh, I feel quite light-headed.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I felt a slight breeze where Emily is standing now. There's a door there, so it might be... We're almost behind the door, but...
Yeah, well said. Come on, if you're the spirit, can you please affect Emily? Maybe tug on a jacket? If you're applying pressure to the top of Emily's head, then please do that to someone else.
If there's anyone here, copy me. Don't start to hurt mine. Show some lights around Emily, please.
Where about were you feeling this cold air?
Down here. Like a draft. I don't feel anything.
How do you both feel on that step?
I feel fine.
Emily, you still a skeptic?
Yeah, still a skeptic. I had a pain in the left shoulder and there.
My shoulder hurts slightly.
Can you tap it?
Yeah. Oh, that's creepy.
See you there?
No. Oh, that was horrible.
Had a draft of beer then.
Well, they are windows, so. Do that then.
Well,
I was like not gonna lie, I don't like this.
Right, Jane, we've got you back for a discussion on your investigation at O'Sullivan's Celtic Bar, otherwise known as the Three Horseshoe Inn. I'd like to have a little chat with you about your vigil in the cellar first of all, yeah? Feeling lightheaded, could that have been a spirit affecting you in some way?
Yeah, it could have been.
I like the way that when you said that you felt like there was a draft coming from the area and Emily just cut you off straight away and said that she believed it was the door.
Yeah.
And that could have been a good possibility, couldn't it?
Could have been, yeah.
You're feeling a little bit lighter, the draft that you're feeling in that area. And then we see this light anomaly by Emily's arm after me saying, can you tug on Emily's coat? Now that you've seen the light anomalies, how do you feel now that you've actually seen it for the first time?
I don't know.
But is there a good possibility that they could have been
Yeah.
spirits within the building?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
We left the cellar and we went up to the 3 Horseshoe Inn. You actually whistled when you were in that area. Did you feel like you got a response to that whistle?
I didn't at the time.
But now you've watched the footage, it did sound like a distant
it
whistle,
did.
didn't it?
Yeah.
When we were in that particular area, you were calling out and we were saying, if there's any light in the area, can they appear in front of Emily? And we did have a little bit of a flash of a light in there. Again, could that be a spirit chain?
Could have been, yes. Yeah.
I think you sound very confident as a believer. Yeah, it's all could maybe. But what about on the staircase? This is alleged to have a spirit in that area that was meant to be on that staircase and up and down at the bottom of the staircase as well. How did you feel in that area?
I felt okay. I didn't feel anything at all.
Very strange that, isn't it? But that's meant to be the place that is supposed to be really haunted. When we got up into the 3 Horseshoe Inn, it seemed to be Emily was starting to then feel a little bit of pressure, a little bit of a headache, stuff like this. And then, you know, she was still defending some points. You said that you could feel a draft when you're over by the bar area. She put her arm out, she tested the area, and she just felt as though there was nothing there at all. But the real pressure that Emily felt on her shoulders seemed to be in the Welsh bar, whereas then she started to think that there was stuff going on. Could that have been the spirit applying the pressure on Emily's shoulders as well?
Yeah.
Because she did seem to really believe that, you know, she was doing all the actions as well, weren't she?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really interesting to see that. How did you feel in the Welsh bar yourself?
It just felt as if there was something pressing down on my shoulders.
Do you think that was a spirit that was making you feel that way?
Yeah.
I really want you to talk me through this vigil up in the nightclub.
After a couple of minutes, we heard like a shuffling noise in the corner. We heard a couple of taps, wondering where they were coming from.
Right.
Then we asked again, and we heard them again.
Could that have been a spirit interacting with you?
Yeah.
Emily's even hearing breezes, like as though someone goes shh in the same area as her. Emily started to get a little bit shaky, didn't she? She got a bit scared, didn't she? What do you think now that you've seen that bit of footage of Emily's reaction in that area?
I think that it was just a feeling she had up there. Whether she believes or not is another thing.
So what do you think about this noise? And it did sound like a voice. To me, it sounded like the word couch. Now that you've heard that, what do you think yourself? Was it an EVP? Was it a spirit?
To me, it sounded muffled, so I couldn't work out what they were saying.
It'll be really interesting to hear what Emily does have to say about that.
After my vigil in O'Sullivan's Celtic Bar and the 3 Horseshoes, I am...
After speaking with Jane, I managed to have a chat with Emily, and after watching her vigils, Emily made the following statement. After watching my vigils back, it did seem that I was really frightened on the night. However, I can safely say my fear was more from the dark as opposed to the possibility of there being any spirits in the building. My vigils in the 3 Horseshoes, the cellar, the foyer and Welsh bar all passed without anything apart from a few dust particles and a slight bit of pressure on my shoulders, which I can put down to tiredness. I will agree that on the night there did seem to be some very unusual happenings up in the nightclub area, and when I listened back to the strange sounds, they did give me a bit of a cold shiver. And as for the possible voice heard, well, I agree, it did sound like a voice, and I would say it sounded like the word couch. But as a skeptic, I have to say there just wasn't enough evidence on the night, or after watching my vigils back, that fully convinces me spirits exist. I would like to say a massive thank you to Frank, Karen and the crew for an amazing experience, and from now on, I certainly will be going on more paranormal nights with groups. But unfortunately for the believers, I will be going as an open-minded skeptic. Now in episode 4 we went across the Brecon Beacons to the beautiful village of Llanginnada, to the Red Lion. The 2 guests given a chance to battle it out at this location were believer Leanna Williams and skeptic Rhiannon Osborne. Let's see what happened when these 2 ladies got back together for their discussion. If there's a spirit of Mrs. Philpotts, are you here listening to us now?
Oh my god, from sensation watching, tickling sensation. It's only like a slight tickle.
It could be anything because we are stood on these staircases and, you know, the creaking like you wouldn't believe.
Again, uncomfortable.
Just a car. That's a car. That's not wind.
It is the wind. It's the wind.
It's come and gone.
Give us a flash of light. Give it time. Give it time.
Okay, well... What's that? What was that?
That was out in the corridor.
There's like little flashes of white light.
I got
Look,
goosebumps.
can you see it?
Oh yeah.
It's like a circle.
Down
It's a
there.
circle.
Try calling for David.
Okay.
For David.
Okay.
I feel at ease, as if I'm quietly sitting back, observing, watching the world go by.
Because, again, I'm just talking to the wall here.
The hair on the back of me is lifting up.
Strange you to say that because it does look like on the camera that your hair is actually lifting up.
Anyone hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Rhiannon, what did you hear? That.
Yeah.
What do you think about the footsteps on the stairs?
I heard it, but I was kind of like, oh, it was just one of us.
When you actually look back at the footage and you actually see that nobody's moving about, you do kind of think, well, perhaps something did happen.
It still could have been one of us though, I think.
We were all standing perfectly still. I'm pretty sure that was them saying, I'm here. That's how we felt them, is by the tickling sensation. Don't when you walk into a spider web and it's all over your face.
Yeah, I hate that.
I felt it like all along there, only briefly. It's a quick little tickle down here.
I think it's just one of those things. It's just like a natural thing that happens. I got an itch now. Like, it's just one of them things.
It definitely wasn't an itch.
Let's talk about like that wind we experienced in the corridor. And it wasn't a particularly windy night. Do you think that wind was paranormal?
Yeah, because if it was like a windy night, it would have been continuous. But then we asked if they could do something, the wind picked up and then all of a sudden it just stopped completely. There was nothing.
So do you think like ghosts can control the weather then? Like, I've never really considered this.
The way I see it, they work in mysterious ways. When we heard that tapping sound in room 4, I was really gutted. I kind of missed it.
Why were you so quick to just be like, oh, that was in the corridor?
Because it did actually sound like it was coming from a corridor.
The noise was definitely from inside their room. Any thoughts of it being paranormal were kind of just gone when you dismissed it. It could have been anything.
I think that it was definitely part of the manifestation, and it does coincide with the orbs that we were seeing. When we moved to another room, we seen more.
Room 5?
The dancing lights.
The dancing lights, yeah.
They were like a bright white flashing all over the ceiling. We knew the smoke alarm was in the corner of the room and we instantly dismissed that because it's not even the same colour. We did ask them to do something specifically around you as well.
Because when I'm like lying on the bed with the doll and then...
Sucky the doll,
yeah. It's like, this is the only thing from watching this back that I fully can't explain because it's clearly a light. Could it be a reflection of something?
You can clearly see that wasn't a dust particle or a reflection because it was too fast. And it was just way too bright.
There was someone in that room. There was a light in that room. Whether that light was paranormal, I don't know.
I think it was.
We got told room 6 was supposed to be where things were happening, like kids were scared to go in there. There was supposed to be like a lady in there or something. But we seen, heard nothing.
I felt it was more calmer, especially when I sat in that seat.
When we got to the bar and the pool room, wasn't it supposed to be like quite haunted down there, like glasses get smashed? Explain to me why there was nothing.
Perhaps it didn't have enough energy. Karen did report her hair was being moved. We did see that that flash.
I feel like that light was just a reflection, and in regards to Karen's hair, Frank pretty much explained during the night, like she did have a coat on. I feel like we wasted our time in that bar area. So there's been a lot of interesting things happen in the building from watching back the footage. And with that in mind, I'm now
after all what's gone on in the Red Line Inn,
Over the past 12 months, myself and the crew worked really hard to give all our guests a paranormal experience of a lifetime. And to see the change in each of their lives really does make it all worthwhile. Now, before we see if any of our guests have changed their mind from their experiences, let's take a look at the discussion between myself and spiritualist medium Karen Sherlock about our paranormal battle back in episode 5.
As we were just setting up with the cameras then, we did hear someone by the stairs behind Karen, and it did sound like someone saying, "I live here." Who would say such a thing?
I feel it was a child.
When we were last there, you actually said that you felt there was a female in this area. Can you remember her name?
Her name's Dorothea. I'm getting a little tickling around my throat here, and I just feel behind me as well. So maybe this fireplace or part of it here was very active. We've got somebody in the corner as well over here.
Is this you? Are you here with us now? Come and say hello, please. Oh, sounds like a basket just moved.
Is the child that's here with us?
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay, I've just had a draft right behind me, right at the back of my neck.
I've just seen a flash above this table here in front of us.
What was that? That was something right in front of me, just made like a standing sound. Wow.
I feel something or somebody is next to me. My leg here is very, very warm.
What was that?
I heard that.
Is there any central heating over there, Sol?
There is actually.
I don't feel it's over there. I feel it's by the doorway here. Whether it was a flash or a swirl.
I heard a woman's voice over your voice and coming from the doorway.
I started at Lankayak. That was our first visuals of our 48-hour marathon, paranormal marathon.
Yes, it was.
So we started off at Lankayak. Just prior to the cameras coming on, we have a sound that's heard. It sounds to me like a man saying, "I live here." On the night, you did actually say that it was the spirit of a child.
Yes, I did, Frank.
We did have crew in the background, although they weren't close to the house. Any excuse will do, Karen. Although they wasn't close to the house, they were around the area. So it could have been simply somebody in the background outside the house, and it did sound like it was someone in the house. Am I getting away with that, Karen?
No, you're not going to get away with that
Okay.
because we did check out if there was anyone in the vicinity close to the house, and nobody was there.
When you're there and when you're listening to these sounds, it does actually sound like everything is close and in close proximity.
Yes.
And that's what I thought on that night. There was no other voice heard throughout that night. So why would we just hear that voice for that moment in time, but nothing else? Just to say, "I live here." Well, why would someone pop up and say that?
It's just really to give you the proof.
It wasn't solid proof for me. The fact that I heard this voice doesn't tell me that there was a spirit in the room. It doesn't tell me that there was any spirit in that building at all. Okay, maybe there was a voice, but it sounded like it could have been one of the crew. But you said it was a child's voice, and there was some things happened that you related to a child throughout the vigils.
Yes, I did.
Sure you want to have a go at me for these light anomalies, because
yes.
How did you feel at that moment in time before the second light anomaly appeared? You did say you felt a tickling sensation.
Yes, I did feel a tickling sensation on my throat, and I felt as if somebody was behind me.
Do you believe that that same light anomaly we seen at that moment in time was the same light anomaly that was seen when our guest Margaret Borriello was in that area?
I totally agree with that, yes.
What spirit do you think that was?
I feel the one behind me was Dorothea.
As a medium, is it possible for you to get a name wrong?
Yes, it has happened because maybe some names come through, maybe we haven't got the pronunciation correct. Very good possibility.
Back in episode 1, Margaret and Nick, they had a draft behind them, and Margaret sort of refers to the draft behind her head, you referred to the draft coming over your right shoulder, and Nick sort of said that the draft was coming low down. Was this the spirit of a gentleman, a child?
I feel it was the energy of a gentleman, and I feel that he followed us all the way round. When we went back to the manor, you, Frank, did feel a draft around your neck.
Yes, that's true. Stood in the same area where everyone else felt the draft as well. Well, where Nick and Margaret felt the draft. My explanation for that is simple. You stood in the same area. Behind me was a door. If you stood in an area where there's a possibility of a draft that can be caused, then to me, as a skeptic, it can be debunked straight away.
You're going to feel a bit of cold, but I'm not going to put it down to the door. Where we were standing as well, the basket moved, and even you commented. I do believe that was all spirit.
I can't say now to my skeptic viewers out there that that basket did move. I can say it sounded like the basket moved. I think I just misheard something that had moved in that room. It doesn't necessarily mean to me that it was caused by a spirit.
No, I don't think that's right, Frank, because I did say I picked up a child in that corner, and then just after that, the basket moved.
Okay, let me take you forward to the Great Hall. There was no whirly lights, as Margaret said. There was no taps in the corner, which Nick was alleged to have missed. No one at the jacket pull whatsoever. So what else was left in that room to be paranormal?
That's a load of rubbish, Frank, because you heard the thuds before you, and even you questioned that.
I will tell my sceptic viewers out there that definitely was a thud in front of me, but it sounded like it was more to do with the floorboards as opposed to a spirit reacting to what we were asking for.
But before that, Frank, we saw lights on the ceiling.
You saw the light on the ceiling.
Yes.
I never seen any light on the ceiling. I'm going to say that's your eyes playing tricks on you.
There's nothing wrong with my eyes. And as I said, I'm still sticking to what I know is correct.
I'm going to take you into the family parlour. We have Margaret, who's feeling like her hand's been touched by an alleged spirit of a child. You say you feel like there's a spirit going around the back of you. We go there for the second time and nothing at all. The only thing that was said in that room that you felt like there was a warm draft by your leg, and I think that was just to try and convince me there was spirits in that room, and I think you were pulling my leg as opposed to having anything warm by your leg.
No, I don't think I was pulling your leg. They don't stay in the same area all the time. There's movement from them.
You're saying there's movement from them, you're saying they're moving around through the rooms and stuff like this, right? But here we are in a room calling out for spirits to come and interact with us, me as a skeptic, you as a believer and a medium, and there was nothing, Karen. Now, this was alleged to be a very active room when we were first there. What's happened? Did the spirits all run away? What did they do?
No, they haven't run away. Maybe we were in that room at the wrong time of day when there's activity there. When we went into Matty's room, we heard a noise, and you actually said it was the radiator, when it was actually coming from the door and the door frame.
Our camera operator, even he debunked that noise, and he's meant to stay neutral.
I feel we were observed from outside looking in.
So you're saying the spirit was more or less out in the corridor then? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, that's very strange, because that takes me along the corridor into the armoury. Now, again, our camera operator, he's the one that seems to have heard what sounds like a muffled woman's voice as you were speaking. Now, we hear something. The viewers will have heard something, without a doubt, but can it be an echo of your voice outside that door?
With the voice being underneath mine, obviously it is spirit.
Okay, so you think some of the things you've said have been validated by the spirits?
Yes, I do.
Show yourself in front of this camera. Any spirit at all, show yourself. Was that your light just running along the side of the wall? Give me a really good light that I can see.
It's making me feel very sick, as if I need
I've got
to
a
go.
headache.
I was just going to say, I've got a headache.
What I did notice for a fraction of a second is as you...
I've captured a fly.
I'd be happy to see one of them cards move on the table.
Is that tap then? Is that you, Frank, moving them?
No.
If James, if you're here, do you think you can move the table slightly to give Frank proof that you're here?
Anything at all will do. We left the manor and we headed over to the Carnbark Hotel. Tell me about some of the things that happened on the night.
The light anomalies in the attic were very strong and bounced around quite a bit.
Okay, yeah, you had the light anomalies, but that attic was full of dust. It was an old derelict attic.
Dust particles can fall a certain way, but these light anomalies were bouncing round, so you can't really say that it was dust.
Okay.
We felt sick at the same time. How can you explain that?
I'm always going to say to my viewers out there that if you're on a paranormal investigation and you feel dizzy and sick, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something paranormal. It could simply be the way they're feeling at that time. It could have been something they ate, it could have been that they're tired, there could have been a number of reasons for that.
Tell me, why is it when we left the attic we all felt fine?
No one's going to put that down to spirits. I cannot see that happening. You might get the odd believer who'll say that, yeah, it was the spirit. Because when I've been on a paranormal investigation with a paranormal group, I felt like that myself. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was paranormal.
It does.
Could have simply, it does.
Yes. Even when you called out, spirit was interacting with you, and we did see that.
Is it possible that dust can't reflect off the infrared lights on the cameras?
It can reflect.
That is it right there. Dust in a dusty attic reflecting off the camera's infrared light, and you've said it can happen yourself.
It can happen, but on this occasion it wasn't. It was actually spirits, and it did happen in the same area in episode 2. Even when we went down the cellar, Frank, the machine switched itself on. How do you explain that?
There is a possibility that just prior to that machine switching on, it did actually click automatically, and that's what's happened there.
You asked Spirit to come forward.
Just prior to that switch going on, you've seen this fly behind me. It's a prime example of what can be mistaken as a light anomaly on paranormal investigations. And I believe the light anomalies in the cellar when we were there back in episode 2, I really do believe that that was what we were seeing. The light that shot across between you and Kerry was definitely that same fly, or if not, some kind of insect that was similar.
Don't you feel it quite strange that as the machine come on, the fly was there and then all of a sudden it went?
You're never going to convince a skeptic out there that a light anomaly is any kind of manifestation of a spirit.
I don't believe that for 1 minute. I believe the spirit that was in the cellar followed us up into the bar and was responsible for banging on the table.
They've got the energy to switch a switch on, they've got the energy to bang on a table, they've got the energy to show themselves as a light anomaly, but no proof to me directly in that area. Am I missing something here?
Well, they did give you proof. They banged on the table vibrated.
We went over, we stood by that table, we punched the camera, you brought the glass over, you even brought Suki the doll, you put the doll next to the table, you put the glass on the table, nothing else happened in that area at all. Why not bang on the table when the glass is there and we see the glass fall? Why not move the doll?
They've done what we asked.
This foyer area was where you said when we were first there that there's a spirit supposed to haunt that area. We had nothing in the foyer. We bypassed it twice. We bypassed it in episode 2 and then we bypassed it again when we came back. Ultimately for me, Lancaster Manor and the Carn Park Hotel were totally debunked.
We've got a lot of evidence to dismiss what you're saying.
You've got something with you.
Stop there. I've just felt something on the back of my coat.
As you were speaking, on your left-hand side, there was a bright light. There is activity, and I feel people have been seen walking right the way across and out this door.
There's like a small, quick black shadow that just kind of ran like along this bit of the bars.
Oh, something on my arm.
Okay, if this is you, tap me on the arm.
Let us know that you're here. Prove to Frank and the viewers here that don't believe you.
What you hear, Gabby?
There was a little tap, but again, it's behind the bar. Can you do that again, please? Thank you. There is activity up here, and it does feel quite a bit strange up here, I must say. It feels quite dense and quite dark. I do feel actually a little bit uncomfortable being here. Did you hear that tap?
I did hear the tap.
Lancaster Manor out the way, the Carn Park Hotel out the way. The following day we end up going to O'Sullivan's Celtic Bar, otherwise known as the Three Horseshoe Inn. Now when we were in the cellar I felt as though something was on my back. What do you have to tell me about that?
You were quite startled and it made you jump because it was like Spirit actually touched your back. I know it's Spirit, but how would you explain that?
I sort of moved in that kind of movement, and there was air that was getting trapped underneath my jacket, and I think when I've moved, laugh all you want, Mr. Sherlock, but when I moved, that air pushed up my jacket, and it did actually feel like someone had pressed on my back. Now I know the viewers are home, and I know you'll have experienced this as well, surely, air going up your back from your jacket. There was nothing seen by our camera operator behind me, and the viewers will have seen nothing neither. So how can you say it was a spirit?
At the same time, I went to say to you, there was someone standing behind you.
I know it was definitely a draft of air as opposed to a spirit.
It was Spirit.
Okay, so we came out the cellar, we went up into the Three Horseshoe Inn. Anything that happened in the Three Horseshoe Inn that convinces you there were spirits in there?
Yes, it's just the atmosphere, the feeling that there is spirit that have been seen walking up and down, and our cameraman has actually seen that also as well.
You believe when we were doing your introduction that our camera operator actually did see a spirit, and you were seeing that spirit when we were doing the vigils?
Yes, and also outside the door leading on to the new part of where the club is and where the other part of the bars are.
In the foyer?
In the foyer.
Well, let's discuss the foyer. When we went back to that foyer, we were calling out for various different things to happen. You then said you felt something on your arm. Talk me through what happened after that.
You asked Spirit to draw close, And you did get proof of that because we had spots of light just under your arm, which it was very quick.
Could that not have been a reflection from cars driving past outside?
No, definitely not.
So you believe that could have been the spirit that touched you on the arm just prior to that?
Yes.
I think it can be easily explained away as just being a reflection.
I would disagree with that totally.
We went into the Welsh bar, also the Scottish corner. On the table we had Suki the doll, we had the cutlery set, and you had the necklace on. And then we started hearing taps behind the bar. Tell me about that.
We did hear tapping from behind the bar where the glasses are.
But couldn't that have not simply been the machines cooling down?
No.
We'd switched the machines off not long prior to that.
Yes, we did switch them prior to that, but the glasses were rattling, moving, and as I was asking out...
Oh, hold on a minute, you're saying the glasses were rattling. Do you think the glasses were actually moving?
Yes,
I don't think the viewers at home would have heard that.
Yeah.
The fact that CCTV has been seen in that area of glasses actually being moved and thrown off the bar.
Yes.
Well, it didn't happen on that night, Karen.
It didn't happen, but there was noises behind that.
Okay, well, we went upstairs, we went up into the nightclub area. This is an area that was alleged to be full of this paranormal activity that our guests will have experienced back in episode 3. Potentially the most paranormal activity we've had in the series, even with an EVP involved in all that. You got a frightened skeptic. We get up there and absolutely nothing but a couple of taps. Tell me what's happened there.
There is activity up there. We have picked up. We did hear a voice. You said it was... Couch. And I want to say coach.
Okay, but why didn't that same spirit then give us the same treatment it gave to mother and daughter? Because I didn't hear the word couch. I didn't hear no strange sounds. I didn't see no light anomalies. There was absolutely nothing.
They've done what we asked. We asked to tap or make a noise or bang, and that's exactly what they've done.
I get in here and I feel something on the back of my leg. The back of my right calf. Who is this, Karen?
This was a child. The children that are in this room, do you think you can go towards the doll on the bed?
Your flashes of light, that was happening on the ceiling, was happening all over the place for you and for Leanna. If that was a spirit, I would like to see that same flash of light around the doll. I'm tired. I've been on my feet all day, so have you.
Yes,
of course your legs are going to be...
You're going to ache anyway, but not in this particular area of your body.
But again, the power of suggestion is so strong. Right, Karen, welcome back to the main staircase. You said that you were picking up on a spirit by the name of Llewellyn.
Yes, I did.
What's he doing here?
Again, I feel either he resided here or worked here. He took care of this place as well with Mrs. Philpott. You tap on something to let us know you're here.
Just move a pool ball slightly on the table.
When we're in room 4 with the guests in episode 4, you have this tap heard in the room. Leanna will be kicking herself for saying this, but she said the noise came from outside the room. The noise did actually sound like it was inside the room. As a skeptic, I can simply say that that was just a radiator in that room. I'm not going to say it was anything paranormal.
And you're telling me that what touched you on the leg at Red Line wasn't spirit?
Definitely wasn't spirit.
I do feel there was a child in spirit that done that to the back of your leg.
Well, we had that doll on the bed, Karen. I didn't see no interaction with the child and the doll. Why pull on the back of my pants and not go and play with the doll or the necklace?
Children don't always want to go for toys. You know, if they're interested in someone, an adult maybe going into a room, or they're drawn to an adult, they could be that. Maybe they're a little bit mischievous or they want to have a bit of fun.
We moved on into room 5,
yeah.
The room that you see inspector lights all over the ceiling.
Yes.
I'm going to put that down to the smoke alarm that was flashing intermittently. That's what you and Leanna were seeing.
No, it wasn't, Frank, because if you notice, we weren't looking in a particular corner where the smoke alarm was. We were looking all over the room. It wasn't in one position.
Why was there no light seen on the second occasion we go there? Why are they only seen on the first occasion?
It could be a numerous amount of reasons. Maybe we were there different times. You know, when spirit comes in and they interact with us, there's no set time, you know, or a time scale they have. They will come when they want to come through.
So what do you say the flash of light was over the bed?
I'd say it's spirit.
Room 6. We went there in episode 4, nothing, just an argument in the dark. Then when we went there in episode 5, and other arguments in the dark. There was just absolutely nothing in that room. Now, the staff had told us that that room was active. There was children who had gone there to stay the night who had been scared out of the room. Your spiritual abilities that you say you have, you didn't really use them at the time to try and tune in fully as to who the spirit was that was scaring children. Did there ever come across your mind's eye what was causing the children to be scared of that room?
I do feel it was Mrs. Philpotts that resided in that room towards the latter days of her life. I feel that's where she resided, and it was more of a convalescence room.
Could she have passed in that room?
Yes, I feel she grieved quite a lot, and I feel that she did chase children away. So that's probably the reason why children don't like going in there.
We goes down onto the staircase. This is allegedly where Leanna Williams, our guest believer, she feels a tickling sensation on the chin. When we go there, nothing other than a light anomaly and just a discussion between you and I. No pains in your side, no tickling of anyone's chin, nothing at all.
They're not going to come in at set times.
You're not telling me that spirits just come and go as they please?
Yes, they don't. They are just energy. So they don't need time. They just come round when they need to comfort.
We went down with the guests into the bar area. You feel like your hair's being moved, which to me it looked like your hair was on the back of your coat, and the views will have quite clearly seen that. We also seen a light anomaly in that area, but to me that was just a reflection of the glass as opposed to it being any kind of light anomaly. What do you have to say about that?
Disagree with it totally. My hair was moved, and the viewers, when they look at the footage, they will actually see that.
Finally, we went into the poo room. The room that is meant to be full of spirits that you said gathering in that area. We put all the balls on the table. We put Suki the doll on the table. And Karen, nothing happened at all. So how can you tell me that after all the stories told by the staff, after the alleged spirits that are meant to be all over the building and your light anomalies and all the rest of it, that we get down to an area that is meant to be really active with pool balls moving on the table, and nothing happens at all? Not in episode 4, neither in episode 5.
Again, it could be a numerous amount of reasons. When spirit comes in and they interact with us, there's no set time scale they have. They will come when they want to come through.
Karen Sherlock, it's been absolutely fantastic having you join me this series, and I look forward to a lot more vigils in the future.
Thank you, Frank. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. Well, as you've just seen, I'm still a 100% skeptic. It's going to take a lot more to convince me spirits exist. And as for medium Karen Sherlock, well, Karen's still a 100% believer. But more importantly, what about our guests? Have their minds been changed by what they've experienced? Well, let's find out.
I have got something to say to the viewers. After visiting Lankayak, I am still a skeptic.
I am a 100% believer, and I always will be.
After my experience with the Paranormal Minds team, I am still 100% skeptic.
I am 100% still a believer.
After my vigil in O'Sullivan's Celtic Bar and the Three Horseshoes, I am still a believer.
So there's been a lot of interesting things happen in the building from watching back the footage. And with that in mind, I'm now a skeptic.
After all what's gone on in the Red Line Inn, I'm a believer.
Are you ready to join us?